As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the tranquil waters of Emerald Bay, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement tinged with unease. My friends and I had been planning this vacation for months, eager to escape the hustle and bustle of city life and immerse ourselves in the serene beauty of Lake Tahoe. The rental cabin we had found online seemed like the perfect retreat. A cozy wooden lodge nestled among towering pine trees, with a private dock jutting out into the shimmering waters below. But as we unpacked our bags and settled in for the night, a chill crept into the air, and I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. The first sign that something was amiss came later that evening, as we sat around the crackling fire, toasting marshmallows and sharing ghost stories. Suddenly, the flames flickered and dimmed, casting eerie shadows on the walls of the cabin. We laughed it off as a trick of the light, but deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The next day dawned bright and sunny, and we decided to explore the surrounding area, hiking through the dense forest and soaking in the breathtaking views of the lake below. But as we wandered deeper into the woods, a sense of dread began to gnaw at my insides, and I found myself constantly glancing over my shoulder, as if expecting to see something lurking in the shadows. That night, as we gathered around the dinner table, the atmosphere in the cabin grew increasingly tense. Strange noises echoed through the walls, footsteps creaked on the wooden floors, and I could swear I saw fleeting glimpses of movement out of the corner of my eye. My friends brushed off my concerns, chalking it up to an overactive imagination, but I knew deep down that something was terribly wrong. Unable to shake the feeling of unease, I decided to do some research on the history of the area. What I discovered chilled me to the bone. It turned out that Emerald Bay had a dark and tragic past, with numerous reports of mysterious disappearances and unexplained phenomena dating back centuries. Locals whispered tales of vengeful spirits and cursed land, warning travelers to steer clear of the area after dark. Determined to uncover the truth, I delved deeper into the mysteries surrounding Emerald Bay, poring over old newspaper clippings and scouring online forums for any information that could shed light on the strange occurrences plaguing our vacation. But the more I dug, the more I realized that some secrets were meant to stay buried. As the days passed, the atmosphere in the cabin grew increasingly oppressive, with tension mounting between my friends and me as we struggled to come to terms with the terrifying reality of our situation. Sleep became elusive, haunted by nightmares of shadowy figures lurking in the darkness. And each day brought new horrors as the malevolent presence lurking in the woods grew ever bolder in its attempts to drive us away. Desperate for answers, I reached out to a local historian who had studied the history of Emerald Bay for years. What he told me sent shivers down my spine. According to legend, the land around the bay was once home to a Native American tribe who worshipped a powerful deity known as the Spirit of the Lake. But when white settlers arrived and claimed the land for themselves, they unwittingly unleashed a curse that condemned anyone who trespassed on the sacred grounds to a fate worse than death. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I knew that our only hope of escaping the clutches of the malevolent force that held us captive lay in confronting the dark secrets hidden beneath the tranquil surface of Emerald Bay. Gathering my friends around me, I outlined a plan to perform a ritual of purification, hoping to appease the restless spirits and break the curse once and for all. As the sun dipped below the horizon on our final night in the cabin, we gathered on the shores of the lake, surrounded by flickering torches and the distant sound of rustling leaves. With trembling hands, we lit the ceremonial fire and began to chant the ancient incantations passed down through generations, calling upon the spirit of the lake to release us from its grasp. For a moment, all was still, the air thick with anticipation as we waited with bated breath for a sign that our prayers had been heard. And then, as if in response to our pleas, a sudden gust of wind swept through the clearing, extinguishing the flames and plunging us into darkness. In the eerie silence that followed, I felt a sense of peace wash over me, as if a heavy weight had been lifted from my shoulders. And as we made our way back to the cabin, I knew that although the scars of our ordeal would linger, we had emerged victorious in the face of unimaginable evil. But as we packed our bags and prepared to leave Emerald Bay behind, a nagging doubt lingered in the back of my mind. Had we truly broken the curse? Or was the darkness that lurked within the shadows destined to rise again, waiting patiently for its next unsuspecting victim? As we drove away from the cabin, leaving behind the tranquil waters of Emerald Bay and the horrors that had haunted us there. I couldn't shake the feeling that our ordeal was far from over. And as I glanced back at the darkened forest receding in the distance, I couldn't help but wonder if some secrets were better left undisturbed. Only time would tell if the spirit of the lake had truly been appeased, or if the darkness that lurked within its depths would continue to claim unsuspecting souls for generations to come. But one thing was certain. I would never forget the terror that had gripped us in the heart of Emerald Bay, or the courage we had shown in the face of unspeakable evil. And as we drove into the night, leaving behind the cursed land that had nearly claimed our lives, I knew that the memory of our harrowing ordeal would stay with me forever, a haunting reminder of the horrors that lurked just beyond the edge of our reality. I never expected my vacation to take such a sinister turn. It all started when my friends and I decided to embark on a road trip to explore the quaint villages nestled in the remote countryside. Little did we know, our adventure would lead us to a place where time seemed to stand still, and where the line between reality and nightmare blurred beyond recognition. Our journey began on a crisp autumn morning, the air tinged with the promise of adventure as we set out in our trusty old van, eager to leave the hustle and bustle of the city behind. As we wound our way through winding country roads and picturesque landscapes, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement bubbling within me, tinged with a hint of trepidation. After hours of driving, we stumbled upon a small village nestled in a valley, its quaint cottages and cobbled streets appearing straight out of a postcard. Intrigued by the charm of the place, we decided to stop and explore, eager to immerse ourselves in the idyllic surroundings and soak up the timeless atmosphere. But as we wandered through the narrow streets, something felt off. The village seemed deserted, with not a soul in sight, and an eerie silence hanging in the air like a heavy shroud. Despite our initial unease, we pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets hidden within the crumbling walls and overgrown gardens that lined the deserted streets. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the cobblestones, we stumbled upon a dilapidated mansion at the edge of the village, its ivy-covered facade looming ominously in the fading light. Drawn by a sense of curiosity that bordered on obsession, we decided to explore the abandoned building, unaware of the horrors that lay in wait within its decaying walls. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay, the floorboards creaking beneath our feet as we ventured deeper into the heart of the mansion. Rooms lay empty and forgotten, their walls adorned with faded tapestries and crumbling portraits of long-dead ancestors, their eyes following our every move with an unsettling intensity. But as we delved deeper into the labyrinthine corridors of the mansion, a sense of foreboding gripped me like a vice, and I knew that we were not alone. Shadows flitted at the edge of my vision, whispering secrets too terrible to comprehend, and I could feel the weight of centuries bearing down upon me like a suffocating blanket. It was then that we stumbled upon a hidden chamber concealed behind a locked door, its entrance obscured by layers of dust and cobwebs. With trembling hands we forced our way inside, our hearts pounding in our chests as we uncovered the truth that lay hidden within the darkness. The chamber was filled with ancient artifacts and arcane symbols, their meaning lost to time and memory. But as we pored over the relics scattered across the floor, a sense of dread washed over me, and I knew that we had stumbled upon something beyond our comprehension, a power older than time itself, waiting patiently to be unleashed upon the world. As we turned to leave, a voice echoed through the darkness, chilling me to the bone with its otherworldly resonance. "You have trespassed upon sacred ground," it whispered, its words sending shivers down my spine. "Now, you must pay the price." With mounting horror, we realized that we had awakened something ancient and malevolent, something that should have remained buried in the depths of history. And as we fled the chamber, pursued by shadows that hungered for our souls, I knew that our only hope of survival lay in escaping the village before it was too late. But as we raced through the deserted streets, a sense of despair washed over me. For I knew that the village held us captive, its walls closing in around us like the jaws of a ravenous beast. And as the darkness swallowed us whole, I knew that we were doomed to become just another chapter in its bloody history, our fates sealed by the sins of those who came before us. As the sun rose on the deserted village, casting long shadows across the empty streets, I knew that we would never be seen again, lost to the mists of time like so many others before us. And as the village faded into the distance, swallowed by the fog that clung to its crumbling walls like a shroud, I couldn't help but wonder if anyone would ever uncover the truth behind the disappearance of the lost souls who had dared to tread upon its cursed ground. But one thing was certain. We would never forget the horrors that had befallen us in the heart of the disappearing village, or the price we had paid for our insatiable curiosity. And as the van sped away into the night, leaving behind the haunted ruins that had claimed our innocence and our lives, I knew that the memory of our ordeal would haunt me forever, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the edge of our reality. It was supposed to be a dream vacation, a week of sun, sand, and relaxation at a luxurious beachfront resort. But as I stepped into the lobby of the Grand Hotel, a sense of unease washed over me like a cold wave, sending shivers down my spine and setting my nerves on edge. The hotel was a sprawling maze of opulent corridors and elegant lounges, its walls adorned with gilt-framed paintings and glittering chandeliers that cast a warm glow over the marble floors. But despite its lavish facade, there was something sinister lurking beneath the surface, something that whispered of secrets too terrible to comprehend. As I made my way to the front desk to check in, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end as a chill wind whispered through the empty halls. But I brushed off my fears as nothing more than pre-vacation jitters, eager to escape the confines of reality and lose myself in the blissful ignorance of the holiday season. But as the days passed and the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the deserted beach, I began to realize that there was more to the hotel than met the eye. Strange noises echoed through the halls at night, the sound of footsteps echoing on the polished floors, and the distant wail of a mournful melody drifting through the air like a ghostly lament. At first, I tried to ignore the signs, convincing myself that it was nothing more than my imagination playing tricks on me. But as the disturbances grew more frequent, I knew that there was something terribly wrong with the hotel, something that defied rational explanation and filled me with a sense of dread that refused to be ignored. One night, as I lay in bed listening to the creaking of the floorboards and the eerie wail of the wind outside my window, I felt a presence in the room with me, a cold breath against my neck and a whispering voice that sent chills down my spine. "Leave this place," it hissed, its words dripping with malice, "before it's too late." But try as I might, I couldn't bring myself to leave, drawn inexorably towards the heart of the mystery that lay hidden within the walls of the hotel. And as I delved deeper into the dark secrets that lurked beneath the surface, I uncovered a tale of tragedy and betrayal that spanned centuries. A curse that condemned anyone who dared to set foot in the haunted hotel to a fate worse than death. Determined to uncover the truth, I sought out the hotel's staff and guests, hoping to piece together the fragments of the puzzle and put an end to the curse once and for all. But as I delved deeper into the shadows that lurked in the corners of the hotel's history, I realized that some secrets were meant to stay buried, and that the price of uncovering the truth could be higher than I ever imagined. As the days turned into weeks and the shadows grew darker, I found myself drawn towards the heart of the hotel, to a forgotten wing that had been sealed off from the rest of the world for centuries. With trembling hands, I forced my way inside, the air thick with the scent of decay and the distant sound of whispered prayers echoing through the darkness. And there, hidden within the depths of the abandoned wing, I uncovered the source of the curse, a vengeful spirit trapped between worlds, its tortured soul bound to the hotel by an ancient pact forged in blood and betrayal. With trembling hands, I performed the ritual of purification, hoping to break the curse and release the spirit from its eternal torment. But as the final words of the incantation left my lips, a deafening roar echoed through the halls, and the walls of the hotel began to tremble as if shaken by unseen hands. And as I fled the crumbling ruins of the haunted hotel, I knew that the curse had been broken, but at a terrible cost. For in the darkness that engulfed the hotel, I had unleashed something far more terrifying than I could have ever imagined. Something that hungered for vengeance and would stop at nothing to claim its prey. And as I raced towards the safety of the outside world, I couldn't shake the feeling that the nightmare had only just begun, and that the horrors that lurked within the haunted hotel would never truly be laid to rest. As I emerged from the ruins of the hotel, shaken but alive, I knew that I would never forget the terror that had gripped me in the heart of the cursed building, or the courage I had shown in the face of unspeakable evil. And as I watched the sun rise on the horizon, casting its warm glow over the deserted beach, I knew that the memory of my ordeal would stay with me forever, a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the edge of our reality.